I've put everything on the single piece of A4 paper. It's a downloadable PDF. It's free. We do need your email for it, though, I'm afraid, because, yeah, we've got to get something out of this transaction, haven't we? So you'll go on our marketing mailing list from which you can unsubscribe anytime. So just want to create some value for you straight off the bat. Downloadable PDF is there for you, because I've got to be honest, I want to take the pressure off and I want to ramble and maybe rant for a little bit, because we've got to talk generally first. We've got to set the scene. We've got to talk about the context. You know, what is Excel? What does it mean to people in these days? What's its role in organizations? You know, is Excel stock on the rise? Is Excel on the decline? You hear all of these narratives at one time or another in Excel land. So let's spend the first 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to give you my State of the Union speech. We need that in order to understand the toolkit and, you know, how to apply it and things like that. So general comments, I think it's a good time. It's a good time to be involved with Excel, despite AI, despite lots of other software being available as a substitute for Excel. Why is that? Well, the user base just continues to rise for Excel. There's something like 1.5 billion. That's billion with a B, ABC, billion with a B, 1.5 billion worldwide users for Excel. So yes, these threats exist, and we're going to discuss those, particularly AI. But the user base is just expanding all the time. You know, I see that in my work. You know, we have lots of inquiries all the time about consulting projects, and I see it on the YouTube channel too. There's many people creating spreadsheet Excel content these days, but our YouTube channel still does well, you know, despite the fact I don't do that many videos these days. So both of these things lead me to think there's still a lot of interest in Excel, and not only that, it's rising. So if you're thinking, you know, my career, what should I be focusing on? What should be in my professional toolkit? Absolutely, for me, Excel and Excel related tools. We're going to cover those in the toolkit. Absolutely. I think you're in a good place investing your time and to some extent your money in Excel, because you do have to pay for it, of course. So I think generally life is good, but there's a few things. There's a few things for us to look out for. Now, firstly, let's talk about AI, the elephant in the room, perhaps. I've been using AI extensively this week. I've been using the Copilot tool. I think I said in the last stream, I've got a new Dell XPS 16 laptop, which is mainly for video editing, which is a powerful beast, but its keyboard is shocking. Has anybody got the new XPS 16? It's the worst keyboard I've ever used, and I've had it for a couple of months. I'm still making basic typing errors, but they have a Copilot key on the keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and press it right here. I've just pressed the Copilot key, and it's brought up one of the conversations I was having this morning with Copilot. So I'm certainly an Excel professional. I'm using AI tools extensively. Copilot I use for technical stuff. There's a Copilot feature in Excel that you have to pay for, about £20 a month, but is pretty good. And in the last stream, I actually compared my performance over five Excel tasks to Copilot, so you can go ahead and find that. And then we also use a tool called Gemini, which is Google's AI tool. So is AI doing everything? Well, I don't think so. As I said, I've spent a lot of time with AI now. AI is good at a specific thing in Excel, and the specific thing AI is good at is doing a job where what I'd call a one-off piece of analysis. So you have a data set and you need some answers from the data set, whatever it might be. AI is very good at doing that kind of one-off piece of analysis. If you want to repeat the analysis, if you want to do it the next day, the next week, the next month, AI is less useful. Certainly at the moment, it's less useful because AI will happily give you an answer, but you have less control over how AI generates that answer. Yeah. So when I've been doing my testing out Copilot AI in Excel, it often goes to Python, for example. It goes to Python to get the answers to whatever query you have. Now, that's fine, but we need to create tools. We need to create tools for people to use, people can use every day, every week, and every month. And that's why I think there's still a huge demand for kind of human Excel specialists to be able to create tools for people, because real world projects, I've got a book on my shelf here that I read at my master's. In fact, I'm going to grab it. Now, this is the best book I've ever read, certainly professionally. It's called Rational Analysis for a Problematic World Revisited. Trying to get that to focus. There it is. Rational Analysis for a Problematic World Revisited. Now, academics are great, aren't they? Academics are great. They really know how to make a snappy title for a book. Rational Analysis for a Problematic World Revisited. It's edited by Jonathan Rosenhead and John Minges, I believe their names are. This is a book about how to use tools and techniques, analytical tools and techniques in organizations, including how to do spreadsheet modeling, but a host of other techniques, including things like rich picturing that I've covered on the channel, more conceptual techniques, so techniques that aren't concerned with numbers, techniques that are more concerned with understanding the social side of situations, understanding the strategic side of business situations, like really, really interesting stuff. The academics, bless them, and I was an academic myself, not very good at marketing tools and giving them really catchy names that will make people, actually be interested and understand them. But the main message from this book is that in business, there's very rarely a single answer. There's very rarely a single answer to a problem, and business people out there, certainly people who are senior managers in organizations, you'll understand this intuitively. I understand this intuitively just from managing our business. And they talk about something called the problem solution mindset. The problem solution mindset. And the problem solution mindset, we've all got it because we all learned it at school. The problem solution mindset. How are you assessed at school? You have to do exams, and exams by definition, they have to have answers, don't they? They have to have answers so that you can be assessed and you can be given a grade. So we all grow up with this problem solution mindset. But the argument they're making is to have real impact in business, you've got to have more than just a mindset that says, oh, there's a singular problem, I can give you an answer, and then that problem is going to be alleviated. And anybody who's worked in an organization knows problems hang around. Problems change day to day. Problems are subjective. Different people consider one problem more or less serious. There's political considerations around problem solving. Somebody might want to solve a problem because it allows them to, move their career forward. So these situations are much more complex than people might have you believe. And this is why humans are very much needed. Being an Excel consultant, which I am, it's very much about talking to people and then talking to people again, then getting a list of issues. In this book, they talk about the power of just writing down a list of issues, truly exploring a situation. Only then can you begin to understand, which kind of spreadsheet is going to work in a situation. AI isn't going to do that. Okay. So I think AI can help us because if you can understand what to use it for, and I won't go any more into what I'm using AI for, but I am using it extensively, but also understand, as a human, you're very much needed in organizational problems. This is the best way to kind of understand how AI is impacting on Excel Lab. Okay. So that's some words about AI. So broadly speaking, a positive thing, I would say. Let's talk about some other features of Excel Lab. Let's talk about the Excel World Cup. Now, lots of interest in the Excel World Cup. I'd say once a week minimum, one of my friends, acquaintances, family, and I appreciate you all, by the way, sends me a link to an article about the Excel World Cup. And they say, you should enter this. And as you know, I've already done a video on the channel about how I entered the Excel World Cup. And I show you the question that I answered, and I showed you how I messed it up. So I've kind of done it. I came, I think, 200 out of 300 people, kind of 2/3 of the way down. And there's a whole video about it. You can just go back on the channel, 5 or 6 videos, Tiger Spreadsheet Solutions Excel World Cup. You can learn about it. So a good thing, because stimulating interest in Excel, that's generally a good thing. But why is it a bad thing? It's very much a double-edged sword, and it connects to the point I was making about AI and the misconception about what Excel is actually used for, because the Excel World Cup is a bit like an exam situation. We were just talking about at school, you learn the problem solution mindset. In order to have the Excel World Cup, you have to have a type of question that is solvable. It's very much like a school exam. Yep. Now, that's probably, it's generally a good thing, seriously, but the problem is the double-edged sword, the negative side effect is it leads people to think that Excel is just about solving these little problems. That's exactly what you do in the Excel World Cup. You get a data set, you have to do some data analysis, and the answers are fixed, clearly. And it's very clever the way they set it up, and it's kind of good fun to do. It's a good learning experience, but you can't get away from the thing that it's the problem solution mindset. Now, I'm always working on projects in the real world. This week, I'm working on about 7 different projects for companies in the UK. We've got a company in Florida who we work for, a kind of higher net worth individual that we work with too. So lots of people, lots of different situations, and nowhere does the skills that you have to show to do well in the Excel World Cup, nowhere does it really help you in real life Excel consulting. That's what I find. And I do have a certain bias with this because I've kind of been influenced by the kind of views I've been talking about already. I'm happy to own that. But it's true. If you want your skills to have an impact in the real world, it's not about who's the best technician. It's not about who can do XLOOKUP. It's not about who's got the best Lambda formula. It's about who can engage best with people in the real world, who's got the best toolkit and who knows how to apply that toolkit. You can't get away from the people side, the social side of problems. That's always going to limit you. I find on a project, my technical skill is never a limit. In fact, I find on projects, the technical aspect is usually quite straightforward. So what's the complexity? What's the difficulty? Dealing with the people, understanding what the problems are, understanding, okay, if we do this spreadsheet, are we going to have to do another spreadsheet later? Being able to take that broader and richer view. That's the real difficult thing on problems. So again, as with AI, I think the Excel World Cup, is it pushing us in the right direction? I'm not sure about that, because it's leaning us towards this kind of reductionist, what I call a reductionist mindset around Excel, which is Excel problems are essentially simple. That's not true. Excel data-related problems are always embedded in organizations. Therefore, by definition, they're complex. Yep. So we're talking about AI, something of a double-edged sword, the Excel World Cup, something of a double-edged sword. Finally, let's talk about the Excel influencer community. We're currently doing mortgage application, got to renew our mortgage, and you have to put what your occupation is, and now they have influencer as an occupation that you can tick. And I was kind of tempted by that, but I tend to just put IT professional, something like that. But it's true, there's a lot of content around Excel. Our little channel gets up to 20,000 views a day, so there's millions and millions of views a day to be won in the Excel influencer market. And I phrase it that way deliberately because people are competing for views. People making YouTube videos are competing for views. Just want to bear that in mind, because competing for views is different to putting the best possible information out there for professionals. Sounds like a pedantic point, doesn't it? But it's a very different thing. And I know this from 12 years of making videos. I can make a video where I put the best possible information I can out there for professionals. That's what I'm doing in this video today. I'm sharing the exact tools that I use to make a living and to run a small but growing company, to run a small but growing YouTube channel. I'm sharing all the stuff I do. Yeah. That to me, it would have been an absolute gift to me to have that 10 or 15 years ago when I was kind of getting going with consulting. But these videos, you'll see, you can come back to this video in 2 weeks, it will have 300 or 400 views. It's really only for the hardcore Tiger fans, and I appreciate you, and you are getting the best information. It doesn't catch on because putting the best possible information out there and getting views are two very different things, and it's important that we explore this. And let me say first, I'm not going to slag off any other YouTubers. People can do what they want, and you can watch the YouTube videos that you want, as long as you bear these points in mind and you are consuming content critically. So don't believe what anybody says, including me. Bear in mind, they have their bias. I have my bias. They have their agenda. And for a lot of YouTubers, their main agenda is, I want views so I can earn revenue and I can monetize the YouTube channel, and I can get the business model going, whatever the business model is. Now, we're a bit different. We're a bit different because we weren't a YouTube channel first. We were a consulting business first. You know, before we even got going on YouTube, we had a small but viable consulting business. It's only really me in the business back in those days, about 10 years ago. But we had a viable business. So I'm not under pressure to make money out of YouTube. Yep. Now, don't get me wrong. I love doing a clickbait type video that delivers people value. Yeah, I love doing that, but that's not everything I do. Yeah, I release a mix of stuff, including this kind of very, I would just say, more wholesome content where I'm really trying to put the best possible information I can out there. So just bear that in mind. The most popular YouTube video out there isn't necessarily going to give you the best information about Excel. It's going to be the most watchable video. It's going to be the most watchable video. And as your parents told you, what you want and what you need are two different things. You know, when you go into YouTube and you want to learn something about Excel, what you want is someone to tell you, listen, it's only going to take 10 minutes. I'm going to give you 10 tips now, and we're going to learn the latest Excel formulae. You know, and you're like, yeah, you know, that would be great. I'm learning new stuff all the time myself. I love videos like that. But what you need is actually to get deep into the topic, to get deep into the fundamentals, to treat the topic as it needs to be treated, with a bit of intellectual rigor, with a critical attitude, with a sense of an appreciation of the difficulties and a sense that it's not just a problem and a solution. You know, Excel work is really difficult. That's the mindset you have to assume. But from my really clumsy explanation, you can see that's not a great YouTube video. You know, a great YouTube video is, well, guys, have you seen the latest Excel formula? It's going to change everything. Let's go. That's a great start for a YouTube video. And I've said many times on the channel, I was saying this 7 years ago, still believe it now, believe it for the rest of my career. No single Excel formula, no matter what they release, is going to fundamentally change your experience of Excel. It might solve a problem for you, that's great, but it's not going to fundamentally change things. And that includes the Copilot formula that's coming out now, which I've looked into a bit and I haven't been impressed with at all. But you'll have influencers queuing up on YouTube now. You can literally put it into YouTube yourself now, and you'll see they're, you know, tripping over each other to say that Copilot changes everything because they want the views. Yep. Just bear that in mind. Okay. So Excel Learn. In summary, Excel is in good shape because it's driven by Excel users and the user base is growing. But three threats I see. The threat of AI, we have to kind of respect it, treat it, understand what it can and can't do. How does it fit into our toolkit? The threat of this reductionism about what Excel work is, like the Excel World Cup. Oh, that's what Excel work is. We just put some formula and get an answer. That's fun to watch. That's not what Excel work actually is. And thirdly, this all being driven by the influencer community that's really, for the most part, just out to get views. So as an Excel professional, I'm inviting you to engage in the struggle that I'm engaged in, which is to deploy Excel for the benefit of as many people as possible. If we can do that, the future of Excel is bright. But if we get distracted by all these little toys, or the Excel World Cup, the new Excel formula, an influencer here and there, we risk trivializing what Excel is. This is the real problem. And people think, oh, Excel, it's just a little thing. No, Excel is a driver of competitive advantage for organizations. I've seen it time and again. The work we do for organizations, it transforms the way people are working. It alleviates the stress. It saves time and money. This is the impact that I'm talking about. And we have to retain the right mindset to ensure that people keep thinking of Excel in that way. So that's my State of the Union speech.